I'm about to share 5 AI tools that are gonna put you ahead of 95% of podcasters in 2026 because AI just changed podcasting forever. Most podcasters spend 8 hours editing, clipping, and posting one episode, but these tools get it done in under 2 hours. Now you might be thinking AI can't replace real editors, or these tools cost a fortune, or this only works for big creators. Maybe you think you're already too late to podcast. Here's the truth, you're not late, and the other 95% of podcasters don't know that these tools exist. I'm Kaleb, producer of Logan Paul's podcast Impulsive over the last 6 years. And within those 6 years, I've been able to gain over 7 billion views and make Impulsive into a top 5 podcast in the world. I use these 5 tools every single week. In this video, you're learning AI audio cleaning that removes background noise instantly, removes any mic bleed from people talking over each other, thumbnails you can create in minutes, motion design that automates short form animations, how to get views automatically, and how to easily find viral clips. You're probably wondering at this point, if these tools are so good, why isn't everybody using them? Simple. Most podcasters are scared of AI, or they use it once and they just give up. But if you learn the right way in this video, you'll be part of that top 5% that catches on before everybody else. Let's hop in. Here's the thing. If your podcast sounds like trash, nothing else matters. You can have the most entertaining conversation in the world, but if your mic sounds like it's underwater, people are clicking off in 5 seconds. And most podcasters think they need expensive mics, manual editing for hours, or soundproofing to make their stuff sound great. But that is complete BS. One of the first most common audio mistakes is just recording in a very, very loud setting. If you originally have a loud setting with tons of stuff going on, it's not gonna make that final audio sound that great, or you're gonna need a lot of cleanup in post-production. Another very common mistake when you have at least 2 or more people within your podcast is mic bleed. Basically, people talking over each other. The reason that's such an issue is it creates a lot of different echo within your mics. And finally, one of the last, and I feel like underrated ones that not too many people think, is they don't levelize their audio. Sometimes maybe you have, let's just say for example, with Impulsive, we have Logan and he's talking at all this time at like -5 dB, but then you have the guest and he's talking at like -20 dB. That's not good. You gotta levelize your audio too. Tools like Auphonic and Adobe Podcast do a great job at removing background noise instantly and removing mic bleed when people are talking over each other. No more manual editing for hours. So let me actually dive in and give you an example of Impulsive. Just to give you some context, before I actually ended up finding this tool, I was having to spend hundreds of dollars shipping off this audio to an audio engineer who would then ship it back to me, and then I'd hope that it ends up sounding good. And to be honest, like that costs a lot of money. Like audio engineers are not cheap. Most of the time they'd send back something and it'd kind of be like, okay, but like I'd still have to send back other tweaks. And then if I got like fed up a little bit, I'd get to the point where I'd be spending 2 to 3 hours manually just fixing the audio myself. Now I just drop it into Auphonic, create a new multi-track production, and then call it a day, and it's all done. So let me show you exactly how it's done with Auphonic. First off, you're gonna wanna scroll down. These are obviously the last few episodes that we've done for Impulsive, but for this example, I'm gonna use the episode that we did with Ashton Hall, okay? It was basically just Ashton Hall, Logan Paul, and Mike Malek, 3 different mics. All you have to do is once you get inside of Auphonic, and this obviously isn't a free feature, but you can dabble with some free credits that I guess they give you, and then you have to buy credits after that. But once you get into this, you're gonna wanna scroll down and then click Create New Multi-Track Production. This is gonna be essential when you have multiple different people talking. Let me continue to get into this. First off, you're gonna be able to add each different track in there, okay? So since we have 3 different people, boom, I just added track 1, boom, added track 2, and then boom, added track 3. Now, within that, you're going to choose your file. You know, you click choose file right here, and then you're gonna wanna scroll to your 3 audio sources, okay? So for the sake of this example, let's speed through it right now, and then I'll put Logan right here. And then for the 3rd track, we're gonna put Mike. Now, just for the sake of this, you know, we'll just understand that track 1 is Logan, track 2 is Ashton, track 3 is Mike. You're literally, you know, you can label them as much as you want. Now, I usually like to keep everything as normal as possible. And what I mean by that is like turning off any of the filtering that it tries to apply to it. You can keep it on, like a lot of the time it does a pretty good job at doing that. But the coolest part in a lot of this is in each of those individual tracks, you can either, you know, click on or off filtering, but you can also either click on or off noise reduction. Within these tracks, you have the legacy denoising algorithm, which is classic. Keep speech and music, remove everything else, keep speech, remove everything else, and then remove constant noises only. Now, sometimes there's a little bit of a hum every once in a while when you're recording in something, and that might be a good scenario where you just remove constant noises. Other times, maybe there is a ton of background noise. You're in a very, very noisy New York setting. You might want to keep the speech, but remove everything else. Boom, this speech isolation might be a good one for you. So let's just say for this example, we have a hum and we want to do a static, but it's only on Logan's track, okay? It's not on Mike's, it's not on Ashton's. Fine, that's totally cool. Now we have to try and figure out how much of that noise we actually want to take away. And I've tend to notice, like, if it's just like a tiny bit of hum, boom, 6 dB is probably fine. But if it's a little bit heavy, maybe do like 15, 18. Now you just gotta be careful when you start getting up to these higher numbers, it starts to maybe distort the audio a little bit. You don't want to get past that certain threshold. And now, so let's just say, for example, it's at medium, boom, we'll go with the medium. Reverb is all about making sure to take away any of the echo that could possibly be coming from this mic, or the mic that the mic can be gaining. For this example, I'm gonna keep it off just because the next feature that I'm gonna be talking about, the removing the mic bleed, is going to do a very, very good job at making sure there is no or not as much reverb. And so let's just say we just finished up with Logan's track and all of these other 2 tracks, Ashton's track, and then Mike's track is all good. We're gonna wanna continue to scroll down, and we get basically all the way to the bottom. And this is where the real magic happens. The adaptive leveler is going to make it so it makes all the different audio levels the exact same decibel level, or just about. So it's like all the different audio levels are going to be right around whatever you set it to. And so what I like to do is keep this loudness target for, boom, it's got a podcast setting for you right there. Perfect. Keep that at -16. Maximum peak value, maximum peak level, I think a lot of people like to put it maybe -1, -2. I like to keep it at -3. I think that works best, like for impulsive, and then we're all good. And then boom, you're gonna wanna make sure that you check remove mic bleed. When it comes to the adaptive noise gate, I think it's also pretty good at trying to understand that within their algorithm. But keep that on, keep the adaptive leveler on, everything else pretty standard, and then click that remove mic bleed. Then when you click this start production, it's gonna, continue with its production. It's gonna spit out something for you that is going to be basically a full length mix down of everything, and then you're gonna be able to download it from that. The reason I love this tool so much is like you're gonna end up realizing once you get that spit out thing that you can either go back in and continue to edit it some more. Okay, so for example, let's just say we've already uploaded it. We get into all of this. This is what the result of everything is kind of going to look like. Okay, you're going to have a whole bunch of these waveforms. Boom, boom, boom. It's going to show the individuals right here. For this example, let's just say that this was Ashton Hall's audio. Okay, you'll be able to see that each person that's talking has a different wavelength, and it shows when that person's talking. You're able to click the space bar. You're able to hear who's talking, and then based on whoever's talking, it switches to the different color. And if 2 people are talking at the same time, boom, it will cut off that other person who's not talking and make extremely clear audio. And this is what I was talking about with that remove mic bleed feature, is it is basically using AI to figure out who's speaking and who's not. And then based off of that threshold that it sets of who's speaking and who's not, and trust me, it's better than just a regular noise gate. Based on who's speaking and who's not, it's able to figure out, okay, let's put this person forward, and let's also make it sound very good. Let's levelize the audio and so forward. So it is incredible. This tool is incredible. And then personally, since I'm more of a fan of Auphonic, I tend to go with that one, but I have heard some good things about Adobe Podcast. That might be also a very, very good option for you if maybe you used all your credits for Auphonic and you just want to check out Adobe Podcast. And I heard it's very, very good at also taking out background noise. And then maybe it has a remove mic bleed feature, but I don't know that one for sure. Nonetheless, Auphonic is going to be your best friend when it comes to creating podcast audio that sounds incredible. And you want to know the best part about all this? What usually takes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to comb through all this audio, send it to somebody. I mean, even pay them sometimes $300, $400, $500 to clean your audio only takes minutes. And the credits that you spend on this is like pennies compared to the hundreds of dollars that you would spend for a really, really good audio engineer. Your listeners obviously can't tell it's AI as well, which is awesome. Like they're able to just hear clean, professional audio that makes them want to watch for so much longer. And longer watch time obviously leads to a push of that content. More push, more more growth within your podcast. So if you're still spending hours trying to manually edit your podcast, you're wasting your time. Switch to this and it'll save you so much time and so much money. But clean audio is just the foundation, because even with perfect sound, if your thumbnail is extremely boring, nobody's gonna click on the video in the first place. That's why tool number 2 completely changed how we approach packaging for impulsive podcasts. Your thumbnail is the billboard of your content. If it doesn't get somebody to stop scrolling, then nobody's gonna actually wanna watch your video and you're not gonna grow your podcast, no matter how good the content is. And here's what most podcasters do wrong. They screenshot a random part from a video, throw some text on it, and then throw it up as a thumbnail. And then they wonder why nobody's clicking. At Impulsive, we generate over 2.2 billion views on our clips channel alone. And a huge part of that is because we treat thumbnails like science. So what makes thumbnails work? There's a lot of stuff going into that, but let me start off with the colors. Colors that make thumbnails work are reds, greens, yellows, teals, whites, and blacks. Those tend to be the main ones that tend to get the best results. Browns, oranges, darks on darks, like that's not really gonna stand out from each other. Try some complementary colors, try colors that pop. The other thing is that faces need to be expressive. They don't need to be boring. Nobody's gonna click on something that's boring, okay? If you have somebody who is doing a very, very mean facial expression, that's gonna get somebody to wanna click. If you have somebody doing a smiling facial expression, perfect. A surprised facial expression, perfect. Think about like Mr. Beast thumbnails. He isn't doing something boring with his face in every single one of those thumbnails. Keep it expressive and keep it lively. Next is that the text needs to be readable on mobile. I think one of the biggest hacks that I learned from this one YouTube video way back is this guy who told me when you're making thumbnails, zoom out. Literally, like this is Zoom for me, for Mac and all that stuff. Literally zoom out and see the thumbnail from really far away. If you can't read it from real far away, then that text is too small, or that text doesn't need to be there at all. And the last thing that I really like is branding consistency. The reason that I think it's so important for branding consistency is because when somebody clicks on Impulsive Podcast or they click on an Impulsive thumbnail, they are realizing that is Logan Paul's podcast. And every single time they stumble across a clip that is similar to this, then they're gonna want to click on more in the future. So if we're making thumbnails that are generally along the same vibe, the same branding, people are gonna more want to click on it because it's something that they're used to. And one of the best ways you could beef up your thumbnails is going to be doing things like using Grok and Midjourney to create scroll stopping visuals. We personally use it to create better teaser clips and then also create better artwork when it comes to our thumbnails for impulsive clips. Let me be clear, we don't use AI thumbnails directly, but we use them as prototypes to learn and continue experimenting faster. And so let's go into Grok and let's have it generate an image. This is going to be an image that we could put in between two faces of a thumbnail and make a really, really good podcast thumbnail. So let's say, hey Grok, let's make a picture of Logan Paul and Conor McGregor facing off in a boxing ring. Okay. And basically it's going to do its best job to create something. I mean, within seconds, it was able to spit out something that was interesting. Now, this might not be as good for a thumbnail just because Logan's face isn't showing. And maybe this one might need a little bit of work. It looks a little bit too AI'd, but it's a good start. And it's something that gets the point across, especially if you're looking to improve your thumbnails. And like, even this one looks like kind of legit. Like it looks kind of hi-fi, like a little bit more in depth, and it could be really good. And so something like Grok, something like Midjourney is going to be a very, very good tool for you to use to help beef up your thumbnails and make them look that much more professional. So here's an example of one that we've actually done before. This is when Logan was obviously facing off with Conor McGregor. And yeah, this was generated, I believe, with Grok. You can see all the different things that I had kind of talked about earlier. You have whites, reds, and blacks to make everything pop. I guess even earlier, I didn't even talk about the rule of thirds, the importance of making sure that you have boom, guest, boom, something else in the middle, and then boom, and then you keep it as simple as possible, doing your best to also make sure that's also tying in with the title as well. AI just really does a very good job at testing 10 to 20 different types of concepts in minutes instead of hours. And here's the thing, podcasters who are willing to go above and beyond and test 5 or 10 different thumbnails and see what works best usually end up being the ones that get millions of views. The ones who make one thumbnail and don't test it all or use the ABC thumbnail and title testing feature tend to be left behind. But here's where it gets interesting, because thumbnails can help you click on a video. But what about all that other discovery when it comes to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts, and that's short form content? Those need motion, dynamic text, smooth visuals, smooth transitions, and captions that pop. And that used to take hours in After Effects, but not anymore. Let's talk about motion graphics, because I believe this is where most podcasts podcasters tend to draw the line. They tend to give up. Your short form clips low-key need animations. They need smooth transitions. They need some text overlays. All of that used to take 30 minutes per clip in After Effects. But what if I told you there's literally a way to do it in 1 minute or less? But also, if you didn't even know how to use After Effects, you'd be stuck doing the same old static content and you wouldn't have any idea how to make eye-catching visuals. This is where Jitter comes in. Tools like Jitter create animations for your podcast clips and even long-form content. You can create animated text, smooth transitions, animations for TikTok, Reels, Shorts, all that without even touching After Effects. And here's why this matters. Motion keeps people watching. Motion separates your clip from everybody else. And that's why I believe you should really look into it, because they say that thing, okay, picture says 1,000 words, you know, a video that probably says 1,000,000 words, but a sick animation could say so much more. It really just kind of makes your content feel premium, like you're actually putting time and effort into it. A static clip with content is just boring. You're gonna scroll away and it's gonna decrease your watch time dramatically. But we want people to stop scrolling, to watch your video. And then what is that gonna do? Push it out to the algorithm so much harder. Here's 2 of my favorite ways to use it for Impulsive. Let's dive in. Right now we're in Jitter and we're able to see that, boom, got different templates up. Great, you know, you can even go back to where to find the templates. Perfect. These are my 2 favorite. Okay, simple, easy, and effective. But for this example, let's dive into what it would look like if you wanted to make a sample for a text. Okay, so make it look like this. Okay, boom, simple, already got the animation. Okay, and then in this example, we're gonna do it and make it seem like Logan Paul is texting us. Okay, so gotta click duplicate to edit. Okay, here we go. Boom. I want to make it seem like Logan Paul just messaged me. So I will do Logan Paul, boom, and bro, I can't believe how good your YouTube video is. Okay, if I just wanted that validation text from him right there, boom, got it. Okay, maybe it gets a little bit cut off at the end, so you might have to keep it a little bit less characters. Just keep the characters within that. Or I don't know, there might be a way to kind of extend the box here. Boom, look at that, so sick. You're able to extend the box and then it's perfect. It's perfect. And then it even's got a little bit of a fade out. Amazing. Even affect like the animation, just all of these things. I mean, it's so sick. It's so easy. It's so simple. You can change the icon if you want. If you're more of an Android person, whatever it is, you know, you can change it. And then boom, you click export right here. And then you got all of these different things to export. You can even export it as a GIF if you want. It's just so useful. There's obviously that other one that I just talked about, which is more to do with the search bar, which is just as dope and just as easy and just as unique as the other one. And it's simple. Like, you don't need to know After Effects for all this stuff. You can do it simply just yourself, just with this software. Easy. But here's the thing. You can have perfect audio, scroll stopping thumbnails, really good short form clips. But if you're not getting enough views on your podcast, you're gonna love this next tool, ManyChat. This one's huge and most podcasters completely ignore it. You're posting short form clips on Instagram, getting views and maybe some followers, but then what? Podcasters hope that people are gonna watch those clips and then go over to the full length episode. They're hoping those viewers do that. But the sad reality is most of that audience isn't doing that. And they're watching that 60-second clip and they're probably forgetting about you. But this is where ManyChat comes in. ManyChat turns Instagram followers to a full podcast listener automatically. Here's how it works. You post a clip on Instagram and tell them to comment a keyword. After they comment, ManyChat automatically sends them a DM for the full-length episode. You're literally sending your full-length episode straight to their inbox. Now let's dive into a quick example. First off, it's gonna be this one of Diary of a CEO. For this example, they had Kamala Harris on the podcast. All that they did was post the teaser of the episode, and then they had the word comment Kamala and I'll personally DM you the full conversation. Boom. Simple, easy, and then when somebody commented Kamala, then it is gonna send them a DM automation of the full-length episode. Now, one of the interesting things about this that I don't think a lot of people talk about is you can't really see it right here, but it drives a ton more comments, furthering that post within the algorithm. So it could be very good for that. But you can see how many people just commented the word Kamala. So many more views and so many more people that are getting sent the episode. And here's the reality. Podcasters who are getting thousands and thousands of views aren't just relying on people to go over to the full-length view from watching a clip and just searching for them. They're using automation to fully put their podcast in front of people who are already interested in it. ManyChat lets you do that too, also without having to respond to hundreds of comments every single day. So if you're getting views on clips, but nobody's watching your full-length episode, you should really be utilizing this tool. Now, I need to be brutally honest with you. Everybody's talking about Opus clips right now. And while it can help you find some viral moments automatically, most podcasters are using it completely wrong. And it's actually hurting their growth. The promise of just upload your episode and it'll spit out a whole bunch of AI clips and it'll be great. Sounds great on the surface. But here's the brutal truth. Opus Clip is making AI podcasting and podcast clips lazier, not better. And I can say this because we've tested it extensively at Impulsive. So what Opus thinks that they're good at is finding viral moments automatically. But here's a few things that it can't do. First off, let's start off with the fact that anytime you see an Opus clip, you know it's an Opus clip. You could tell by the text that it's using, it's the standard boring same text. People can see through that. And then the ones who maybe can't see through that and do end up staying to the end of the video, great, perfect, all power to them. But they can feel that is an AI clip. That might drive viewers, but that doesn't drive followers. And I think that's a big issue. They see views, but they aren't seeing a lot of followers convert from that. And I believe that's a big part to do with an interesting topic, but a bad packaging because of Opus clips. Now, on one hand, Opus clips is good because maybe you don't have as much experience creating all of these edits and you don't know exactly how to storytell, but at the same time, it's cheap. People can see through it, and getting somebody who can actually edit a full clip is gonna be a much more beneficial experience than throwing in AI and then hoping for the best. And the final thing that I wanna rant on is that it's really bad at understanding pacing. The pacing seems very robotic. Storylines aren't really being hit. Maybe it has a decent hook, but it's got a terrible payoff. It just doesn't understand the storytelling and the pacing of everything. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant on Opus clips. Once you think about it as using like Google Translate for a love letter, it gets the point across, but there's no emotion behind it. When somebody watches your Opus clip, they could tell something's off, and so they scroll away. So does that mean you should not use Opus clips? No, but there's just a smart way that smart podcasters are actually going about this. Think of Opus clips as your AI scout, not your editor. It's able to try and figure out some of the best moments and able to give you a generalized view of, hey, Kaleb, this might actually be a good moment for the podcast. But you shouldn't take its edits and exactly what it says as the end all be all. So basically, here's the process with Opus clips. You're gonna get into the dashboard and you're gonna wanna drop either your link in here of a video that's already online, or you can click upload and then it'll be all set. So in this case, I already uploaded an episode and I'm gonna go here. Boom. All right, perfect. Just uploaded the episode. Now let's get the clips all in one link, okay? It's gonna use all of the credits that I might have had there. It is, doing its thing. It's doing its thing, and it's gonna take, it says 15 minutes or so. It's gonna take its time. It's already at 23%, and then we'll kind of go from there. Now, once it finishes generating all of these, I had it mostly generate stuff that's less than 1 minute long. You're gonna wanna go in one by one and see if these are actually good enough to be clipped. Like for example, this right here, you can already see like right at the start, this like angle and stuff, I don't like it. And then this one, I'm almost positive it just ended up taking it from the teaser that we made at the start, but yet it's a 98% score. So you have to like watch the first 5 seconds, see if it's actually like a decent clip, and then kind of go from there. There's just like small things that you want to be careful with. Like even right here, it's like all of this open space isn't good. The fact his head is all cut off. I'd say this, and you can always probably edit it a little bit and like push it over, but like it's not perfect, but it can help you understand a little bit more. So let's say, for example, we look at some of these, billionaires. Okay, everybody wants to know billionaires helping homeless or ignoring them. Okay, boom, this could be very good because it could be a very controversial topic. Great. And then you click on that and then you make that a clip and you can download it in HD quality, post, you can even post from the desired platforms, or if something's a little bit off, you can edit the clip. And overall, it's not bad. And it's good if you are using it for the right reasons. Basically, this AI program is a beautiful way for it to scout, to try and find clips, and then you send them to your editors or you start editing yourself and actually start making some of those clips yourself. And this is how we produce some of the top podcast clips for Impulsive. We don't directly scrape them from Opus clips, but we might use one of the topics that Opus puts out for us. Because here's the reality, AI can help you find podcast clips faster, but you just still need to understand editing fundamentals. How to build curiosity, when to cut, and how to keep people watching. Good editing is what persuades somebody to invest in your podcast. It's not about cutting a 60-second clip from a 60-minute podcast. It's about building tension, creating hooks, and making people feel like they need to keep watching. So while everybody else is outsourcing all of their stuff to AI and they're only getting 500 views, the real ones, the smart podcasters, are investing in real skills. And here's the critical thing that you need to understand. All of these tools, audio cleanup, thumbnails, motion design, funnel automation, clip scouting. They're all multipliers. Your content's good, it'll help you scale. If your content's bad, it'll help you fail faster, which is why podcasters who are using AI in 2026 will be using it to work smarter. Most editors spend 8 hours editing an episode. These 5 tools alone can literally cut it down to like 2 hours. Now you can absolutely implement everything you want on your own. But the podcasters who are inside my viral podcast community are getting their clips reviewed by me personally. They're seeing exactly what's working right now, and they're making decisions faster because they're not guessing. Inside, you'll get the exact clipping system that we use for Impulsive to generate billions of views. Real-time feedback on your thumbnails, your titles, and your clips, the posting strategy that guarantees growth, and how to turn your podcast into a business and not just a hobby. We've got hundreds of other podcasters inside growing faster than they ever thought was possible. If you're serious about your podcast and want to learn from Logan Paul's producer himself, click the first link in the description. I'll see you inside.